What is up, everybody? It is the Matt Ramage Show. Thanks for tuning in. All right, last week I wasn't around all too much. Went to the Monday Night Football game. Wasn't planning to. I'll get to that. I'll get to all the Packers stuff. But big shout out to Quick Trip, sponsor the show today. I went down to Quick Trip. Like I said, I was sick. I'm starting to feel a little better now. My wife is still sick. Kids still sick. Went down to Quick Trip today. You can buy bags of soup. Bring them home, throw them in the stove, warm those things up. People think you cooked them some chicken noodle soup yourself. So head on over to Quick Trip. You can do that. Make sure you're using the Quick Rewards app. All types of free goodies going on over there. You know what I mean? But let's get into this thing a little bit. All right. Like I said, I wasn't around all last week. I got sick. I went to that Monday Night Football game against the Rams, and I didn't plan on going to that game. I planned on doing a live stream. Had the live stream all set up. I was gonna do the thing, and went down a tailgate over at the Liberty City tailgate, the Liddy City. What are they called? The Liberty Liddy. I don't know. It's a great tailgate though over on Liberty. Check out the Drew Cave. SoCal Packers. They put that thing on. Fantastic tailgate. Stop down there. Saw my guy, Senor Cheesehead. He said, bro, you want to go to the game? I was like, nah, I'm going to do this live stream. Because I get offered tickets all the time to go to the games. But, usually I do. But, I was like, nah, I'm going to do live stream. He's like, row 2 in the end zone. I was like, all right. All right. I don't think you cannot turn down row 2 in the end zone. So I went to the game, had a phenomenal time, dude. It was so fun. I got a little tipsy. I ended up making a video at that game, calling in sick to work in Lambeau Field in the stands while taking a shot of Woodson whiskey. And I don't know, that was probably a bad decision on my part. And I put it on Twitter. Charles Woodson retweeted it. So that was kind of cool, but I still feel like that might have been a bad decision to call in sick there. I didn't lose my job, but I feel like karma kicked me in the face a little bit. I got sick by Wednesday. I was not feeling good at all. Dude, I thought I was going to die. I was at work. I think it was Wednesday I was at work. I think Thursday. No, I went to work Thursday. And then I felt like death all day at work. Like the worst day at work that I've ever had, just like sick-wise. And then I called in Friday and Saturday. I laid in bed watching Barney Miller, bro. You ever watch Barney Miller? Barney Miller, I swear I could have a whole podcast just talking about Barney Miller. If you like Barney Miller, all right, hit me up. Let me know. Let's talk. I feel like I could have conversation about Barney Miller. It's a great show. They just in this police station in 1970, late 70s, early 80s. I think that this show takes place. And it's just the crazy people that come in. It's just a great show. I mean, it is part of its time. So there's some things, with today's people ain't going to like. I'm not saying I agree with every single thing that happens on that show, but it is quite entertaining. All right. But anyways, I don't know why I'm going on Barney Miller, but I watched a lot of Barney Miller while I was sick. All right. It's a great show. You should check it out. I think it's on, what is it? Peacock? Is that what it's on? Let me get a drink of this beer real quick. Anyways, the Packers got themselves a little run. Let's get on to some stuff that people actually want to hear about. Packers got a little bit of run going on, beat the Rams. They got a little streak going on now. They won, on Christmas against the Dolphins, a game that, everyone said Packers got to win out. Packers got to win out. They got to have a lot of stuff happen. A lot of things had to happen last week, and they all happened. Everyone that happened, that needed to happen this last weekend happened. All right, so now the Packers have to continue winning out. Washington has to lose one game, and the Packers are in the playoffs. They got to win out against the Vikings and the Lions. We'll get into that. I swear we will get into that. But Miami is a team that I personally said, that's the game. That's the tough one. Not to say the Vikings and the Lions ain't going to be tough. But I was like, these are 3 tough wins. You say they just got to win out. Well, it's not just win out. You got to win out against a Dolphins team who, started hot, struggled. I don't know the whole Dolphins ins and outs of them. But like they started off hot, tripped up a little bit, but a team that, at home in Miami that you have to go in there and beat. They did it. The Packers did it. And there were some situations there, like Tua got a concussion that might have led to maybe some of the bad decisions that he was making over there in the second half. But the Packers defense did it. First half, I thought like what is going on, bro? Like, I was pumped up. Like I was still sick, so I didn't do a live stream. I didn't do anything. I watched that game alone in my living room, still kind of under the weather, thinking maybe I should do a live stream. Maybe I should be streaming this. But I was like, I'm gonna watch this game by myself. My wife and my son were, they're sick. We were all sick in that room. We were all watching Barney Miller together in there, you know what I mean? But like they weren't that sick. They got really pretty much sick after I got over being sick. So where was I going with that, bro? See, that's the problem with me podcasting. I forget stuff sometimes where I was talking about. But yeah, it was oh yeah, we're talking about the Dolphins game. All right. We're back. We're back, people. We're back. The first half was atrocious. It was hard to watch. Aaron Rodgers was off. Like nothing really was working. Nixon was doing his thing, which I think is a huge part of this team, like a humongous part of this team. Getting down inside the 10-yard line there on the return. Packers offense wasn't able to capitalize on that. Very frustrating. A lot of frustrating things happened in that first half. Second half, things started happening. Defense getting some interceptions, making things happen. And they ended up getting the win. And like I was saying at halftime, like I'm surprised they're in this game. The way the Packers are playing, they did not deserve to be in that game. But they were holding it tight. They were staying close, and that's the thing with the NFL: stay close. That's why you have to put teams away. And the Dolphins, Tua, whether it was a concussion or just whatever, I don't care. I mean, I care. I hope his concussion situation is a whole separate situation. Hopefully he's all right. Like a lot of people talking about, like he should just retire. I've seen like NFL players talk about on Twitter, and I hopefully all the best for him. But like as far as like how the Packers win, like I don't care. Like there were some horrible calls. The Packers got, and they weren't calling pass interference. They didn't care. They're like, whatever, maul everybody. But the Packers pulled it out. That's all that matters. But now going forward, the Packers got to beat the Vikings. All right, and I want to talk about the Vikings for a little bit here. I know, whatever. I don't like talking about the Vikings because like Viking fans are like, all you do is talk about us. But we're playing you this week, so I'm going to talk about you a little bit. But I had Viking fans because part of what the Packers needed to have happen was the Vikings to win, right? So I had Viking fans hitting me up saying, "Ha, you have to root for the Vikings." But let me explain something to you, sir. I will not. I have not, and I never will in the future root for the Vikings to win under any situation. Under any situation, I will never root for the Vikings to win. But at times it calls for me to not root against the Vikings. You understand? So I didn't root against the Vikings. I didn't root for them. If the Vikings got a first down, I didn't cheer, because understand what the word root for means. I root for the Packers. I root for the Brewers. I root for for the Bucks. And when I root for a team, I root for a team all in. If I'm watching a game and this is a team I want to win, I'm rooting for that team hard. I'm yelling. I'm getting up and I'm, standing up and I'm shouting. I'm getting mad at calls. I do not do that when I'm watching the Vikings and hoping that they win. It's this lack of rooting against. So I'm like, all right, good things happen. Like, all right, well, we'll see what happens. Like, I'm never, ever going to get into a situation. I've rooted for teams I hate before, and they always screw you over. So now I'm rooting for the Vikings, and I'm getting all emotionally invested, and then they choke it off. Now I'm upset because a team I hate lost. No, you ain't. That will never happen to me again. I won't root for the Vikings ever, even if it helps the Packers. I just won't root against them. I'll be very quiet mostly during that game. Like sometimes you ever accidentally, like I remember early in the season, I accidentally found myself rooting for the Lions just because of Hard Knocks and all the situations, and Jamal Williams is over there. And But it's not on purpose. But I was like, oh, I was rooting for the Lions right there. Not against Packers, obviously, but whatever game it was I was watching. But like that wasn't purpose. But I couldn't even accidentally root for the Vikings. There's no situation that would have me feeling some type of way about wanting the Vikings to be good that day. That won't happen. Like I say, if the Packers need it, I could pull it off the restraints. Like I'm not going to root against them. I'm not going to cheer when the other team does something good against the Vikings. But I'm not going to get all invested and try to root for a choke artist of a team. You know what I mean? Because that's just what the Vikings are. That's just what they're going to do. They will disappoint you. Now you're sitting there being sad along with the Viking fans. You know what I mean? That they did pull out that the biggest upset ever. You know what I mean? But you can't have the biggest upset ever if you weren't losing 33-0. You were losing 33-0 at halftime to like a 4-win team. And you're talking about you're supposed to be one of the top playoff teams? See, that's the thing that I was trying to convey to Viking fans. I wasn't talking trash because, first of all, I'll give props to the Vikings for this. In all these close games, they're learning to win those close games. So come playoff time, they're definitely going to be in these situations where it's a close game, where they're losing or whatever. And I feel like that gives them practice to like, yeah, we've been here before, type situations like, this ain't nothing new to us. So like they can try to come back and win that game. But like you were losing 33-0 to a 4-win team. I was actually on the road. I was driving. So I was on Sirius. I was listening to Paul Allen, the Minnesota Vikings announcer. I was listening on the Minnesota Vikings radio broadcast. Bro was up straight up crying almost. Like they were just complaining, like dragging their team. Like, oh, this not. They're just whining, basically just giving up. Like that is why that fan base is such crybabies, because that's their leader. Paul Allen, the radio announcer, is just screaming for players to get off the field, screaming for players to get kicked out of the game, like just screaming against his own Vikings team. Can you imagine Wayne Larrivee doing that? And like I saw Viking fans saying like, "Oh, Packer fans are supposed to hate Paul Allen." Like, no, bro. Packer fans ain't supposed to know Paul Allen. Minnesota Viking fans in Minnesota, in the guts of Minnesota, do you think that they know who Wayne Larrivee is? Nobody knows who Wayne Larrivee is outside of Green Bay, and that's not a diss at Wayne Larrivee, but nobody's listening to the radio of the home team in Minnesota. No Minnesota people are listening to the Green Bay radio station. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not listening to Minnesota radio station. I happen to because Sirius XM is a thing. But like, only reason people know who Paul Allen is because he's a joke, and the clips get put out there, and everyone just makes fun of him of how atrocious and just how much of a d-bag he is. You know what I mean? He's just he's just a fan, bro. It's like if they made me a radio announcer. That's probably how I would have. I think he's actually not a bad radio announcer, like as far as getting everyone excited, but he just whines all the time. He's just a squeaky little voice. I think he's horrible. Anyways, but yeah, the Vikings suck. I hate the Vikings. It is Vikings week. And I do I think the Packers are going to win? Yeah, I do. The Packers are playing at home, and that's kind of like what the Packers Vikings. Like I don't know the record wise, but like I don't think the Packers haven't been winning in Minnesota, and Matt LaFleur's little stay here. But I'm not sure how much the Vikings have been winning in Green Bay either. I'm not saying that I'm not worried about the Vikings this coming week, but I'm not really too concerned. Like they have to win out, and that's what has to happen. So like the Packers have to beat the Vikings, and that's just what that is. Like we'll see what happens. Like I do think the Vikings are extremely overrated. They almost lost to like a 4 or 5 win team, whatever it was. They're down 33-0. They were getting their ass kicked, bro, for like a full half, and they came back and won that. A lot of things had to happen for them even to win that game. They won it, so props to them, getting it done. But like, I'm not impressed. When it comes to playoff time, you're playing playoff teams. You're not going to go down 33-0 and win that game. You know what I mean? So when you're winning playoff teams, or when you're playing playoff teams, you can't go down like that and think you're going to come back and just whatever. The Vikings are winning a lot of close games this year. And so, like, the difference is winning and losing, a few points here and there. But like they are doing it, so again, props for that. I'm not gonna like act like they're like a because like, remember when the Packers are 13-3, the Vikings fans were like, they're the worst 13-3 team of all time. I'm not gonna say all that because that's just stupid. But it's I don't think when they're lined up against playoff teams, I don't think that they're gonna do anything. They're just not. I have no faith in the Vikings at all. I think that they're a trash organization, trash team all the way around. And I have a lot of bitterness, um, not just with the Vikings, dude. I know that I really didn't plan on talking about this, but Mark Schlereth, the former Denver Bronco, Super Bowl 32, Mark Schlereth, said something today. He has a gut feeling. He has a gut feeling that Aaron Rodgers won't be the quarterback next year. It'll be Jordan Love. He has a gut feeling. First of all, gut feelings don't matter. All right. So that's not a breaking news report. Like, even though everyone on Twitter, they try to, I saw Twitter accounts trying to break it off like it was breaking news. Like, no, he said it was his gut feeling. He knows nothing. Mark Schlereth is not a newsbreaker. All right. He said Aaron Rodgers, whatever year that was the last year, the year before, whatever, one of those years, I think it was 2020, when Denver Broncos, they're trying to get Aaron Rodgers. They were just begging and clamoring to just play. It's for the love of God, give us your quarterback. Mark Schlereth said it's all but a done deal. Aaron Rodgers to the Denver Broncos. Everyone, oh my goodness, everyone was retweeting everyone. It was the biggest story. Oh, Aaron Rodgers to the Denver Broncos. Mark Schlereth said it. No, it didn't happen. Fell through. Oh, it fell through. It was never happening. Mark Schlereth, and then he's on Twitter today arguing with Packer fans. Packer fans are just owning this dude, and he keeps responding, which just makes it even more laughable. Mark Schlereth is not a newsbreaker. He is a cue card reading fool. He doesn't know anything. He's a TV person, calls some games, does a good job, and he keeps saying this. He keeps saying to all the Packer fans, you don't know anything about football. I get that. Mark Schlereth knows more about football than I do. I guarantee it. He played in the league, offensive lineman. He knows more. Every player who's ever played in the NFL knows more about football than I do. All right. But you're still not a newsbreaker, Mark. You're not a newsbreaker. You've never broken news about the Packers that was accurate. So don't act like you know anything about the Green Bay Packers. You know nothing. You are an ESPN stooge. You read cue cards or however that whole job works. You don't know anything. No one's telling you anything first. Your newsbreakers are Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, some other people, get Jay Glazer. There's other people who get news breaks every now and again, but those are your main people. There's some more. But Mark Schlereth is not one of those people. He's not a newsbreaker. He's not known as a newsbreaker. That's not what he does. No one's going to him to get scoops, to give scoops out, because no one cares about Mark Schlereth. He is a cue card reading individual. He's not good at commentating. Like, when he commentates a game, I know I'm watching a game that doesn't matter. I know I'm watching a game no one cares about. Some CBS crap game. If the Packers happen to play someone, I think he's on CBS. I don't even know what he is, but he's just he means nothing. He's nobody. There's he's not breaking anything. All right, so let's move on from that, because it just irritates me reading this. First of all, he's just getting owned left and right by Packer fans, and he keeps responding. You don't have to respond, bro. Talking trash isn't your game. All he says is, I know more about football than you do. Well, I hope so, bro. But the point of the responses are, you were saying that Jordan Love's to be the quarterback next year. But he said his gut feeling. Why would his gut feeling mean anything? Your gut feeling from what? Were you in the locker room? Did you talk to someone? What? So your gut feeling is watching off TV. You know as much as I do about the Packers. The stuff you see on TV, you know nothing, bro. You don't have no source. You don't have a friend in a locker room. You don't know nobody. Bro, just shut up, bro. Just looking for that attention on Twitter. Maybe he's not getting it at home. I don't understand. I don't know. But the Packers have to win out over here. And you can talk about who has to do what. Washington has to lose the game. I think the Giants could also lose 2 games and they can get in that way. But I think we should just focus on Washington. I forget who they play. I think they play the Cowboys. They play some. Maybe the Eagles. I forget. They played 2 tough games for them. So I think that they're going to lose one. So the Packers just going to win out. Play the Vikings. Vikings are going to play them tough. Vikings are going to play. I don't care what the Viking situation is. If they got anything to play for, they're probably going to be playing pretty hard. They would love nothing more than to knock the Packers out the playoffs, to not even give them a chance. Because Packers are already in the playoffs right now. This is their playoffs. They've been in the playoffs. And then they go on to play the Lions. All right. So let's say that they beat the Vikings. All right. Let's say that they beat the Vikings. Then they go on. They have to play the Lions. The Lions are a tough team, and they will not quit. I don't care about and then that last game of the season could very well be Packers. Whoever wins that game gets that playoff spot. You know what I mean? So like the Lions that's going to be a tough game. The Lions are not a pushover. Even when they were a pushover, the Lions were always kind of tough for the Packers. I mean, not historically, Brett Favre, his record versus the Lions, I'm sure is very, very good. Aaron Rodgers' record, I think, is probably pretty good too. But the Lions haven't been always a pushover for the Packers. And now, they're a tough team. They got a lot of fight in them. So it's going to be tough, It's not going to be easy, but I think the Packers can do it. I think the Packers do. And all the people, though, bro, so many people counted the Packers out, didn't give the Packers a shot. And now the Packers all but own their own destiny. They got to have some stuff happen. Washington got to lose the game. Packers are 2 division games away from making the playoffs. And if the Packers make the playoffs, oh my goodness. All the people that were talking trash, and then there's so many Packer fans, you're like, what's it matter if they don't win? Dude, you don't quit, bro. You have a chance in the playoffs, you shoot for the playoffs. A lot of Packer fans, a lot of people across the world talking about why don't the Packers just sit Aaron Rodgers and put Jordan Love in? Because they still have a shot at the playoffs. And that's not a shot at Jordan Love. But you play your first quarterback. You play your Hall of Fame quarterback until it doesn't make sense to. And that's not yet. Every week, everyone's talking about Packers are done. Oh, dude, every fan base, so many people, so many teams want nothing more than the Packers to collapse. They are waiting. Viking fans, Bear fans, Lion fans even, they're waiting because the Packers have owned their team for so very long. And now they see like the glimmer of hope. It's like if you were like stuck in a mine, the rocks toppled on your head and then you start slowly picking through the rocks. You've been down there for so long. You got a little bit of air so you're still alive. And then you move a rock, you see a little glimmer of light. That's what it is this season. People saw that little glimmer of light. The Packers, falling apart. But it ain't over, baby. It ain't over. This defense, second half, you can say what you want against the Dolphins. I don't know if Tua was concussed, what the situation was. He was slinging that thing, giving that ball away. But the Packers persevered. They got to a situation that they basically went out and they're in the playoffs. Obviously, Washington's got to lose a game, but I full-heartedly believe that will happen. Everything is lining up. So the Packers just got to do their job. We had some injuries this game. Sounds like LaFleur said everyone is like day to day, so I don't think anything crazy has happened. Christian Watson is a freaking freak athlete. He is an absolute superstar. But some of the play calling, some of that fake punt was a weird situation. LaFleur said he wished that there was a situation where they could have changed out of that because it wasn't a favorable matchup in that situation. So like they got to clean some stuff up. But if this team plays at their best, dude, nobody can beat them. I'm telling you, if the Green Bay Packers play at their best, no one can beat them. And they haven't done that. I mean, they've had the offense, they have had a defense, but all at once, special teams coming around. They got Nixon over there returning. Dude, return everything. Take everything out of the end zone. That dude's a freak. He can get it done. And so like we're going to see what happens. But man, all it takes is like Herm Edwards used to say, just get in the tournament. Get in the tournament. So just get in the playoffs and see what happens. Dude, if the Packers make it to the playoffs, they're going to be hot. They're going to, forget like what they have already done. Beat the Vikings, beat the Lions to get into the playoffs, to begin with, 2 division games, two teams who would love nothing more than to keep the Packers out of the playoffs. If they end up beating them to get into the playoffs, this team is going to be hot. This team is going to be hungry. I don't care what anyone says. No team in the NFC wants to see this team. But if anyone does, it's probably the Vikings, right? I think if I'm a Viking fan, which I hurts me to say that, but like Viking fans should really want to play the Packers because historically, recently the Packers haven't played that great in Minnesota. Obviously, that would be in Minnesota. So besides them and like even them, dude, I would love it. All right, let's go to Minnesota in the playoffs. I'm good. Let's go get at it. Like, I would love nothing more than the Packers to knock the Vikings out of playoffs. Bro, like, you don't have no idea how many videos I would make on that. I would have content for the whole offseason no matter what happened. No matter what happened after that, I would have content. I would just be talking trash for months. Like, a Viking, dude, I feel like, dude, they are so overrated. Justin Jefferson's a ridiculous athlete. He's so good. But that team, I don't know. It doesn't scare me. And I ain't talking about it as a Packer fan, but like, because like, I get it. The Vikings are where they are. They're having themselves a good year. The Packers season is what it is. We're going to see what happens with that. But like, if you're talking about like the Eagles, talking about these other playoff teams, like you look at the Vikings, like, really? Like, until they're supposed to be scared of that? Like, the Vikings haven't proved to anyone anything. They've proved nothing, The hell with the Vikings. All right, bro. But yeah, so like we're gonna see what happens here. All right. I possibly have Aaron Nagler coming up this week, maybe Thursday. We're talking. We'll see what happens with that. It's a busy week. Christmas was this last week, dude. I didn't even celebrate Christmas because I was sick. My whole family was sick. We're gonna do it next weekend. So there's that. But yeah, you know what I mean. All right, we're gonna see what happens here this week. This is gonna be a fun week of me talking trash to Minnesota Viking fans. That trash fan base, you know what I mean? That whole skull thing. Like a dude at work was doing a skull chant. I have a Viking fan at work. He's doing a skull chant. I didn't even know what he was doing. I thought he was just clapping. I'm like, what's happening? He's like, skull. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. You're an idiot. No, he's a good guy. But yeah, here we go. So a big shout to Quick Trip sponsor show. I'll be back this week. We're going to try to get some of these in there. Last week I didn't have a podcast because like I said, I was sick. Dude, I have never been that sick, I don't think, in my whole life. Like, things were happening to me, things were coming out of me. I don't even want to talk about it. But we are back in this thing now. That Monday Night Football game was wild though. Shout out to everyone, SoCal Packer backers. Those guys know how to party. They know how to get it down. Mr. Senior Cheesehead. A lot of people. I can't think of all the names, so I don't want to start naming people off. But it was awesome. It was a fun game. Had probably a few too many beers. I think if I go to another game this year, I think I'm gonna tone her down on the alcohol just a little bit. I think I might go a little too hard sometimes. But yeah, we're gonna have this playoff situation is gonna be a fun one, people. Go Pack, go people. I am out this thing.